talk about first Northwestern State, tough game, double overtime loss, first overtime game, I think, since South Dakota State in 04. But the second half, the offense, I guess there were some bright spots offensively. Just kind of talk about that game.
Yeah, I thought we played extremely hard on both sides of the ball. First half, I thought defensively we played really well. Held their offense right at about 100 yards. But our offense didn't do too much in the first half. Of course, we didn't create a lot of opportunities for them on defense as well. But the second half, we kind of got kicked in offensively, which was good. And then their offense got a little hot and started throwing to those big wide outs. And of course, the big wide out kind of had his way in the end zone with us a little bit. But, we still had a chance to win. In the first overtime, we stopped them. They missed a field goal. We had a chance to kick the game-winning field goal and ended up getting it blocked. We had a guy that was hurt that we had to sub a guy out. And it is what it is. So we go into double overtime and we fall short, So tough loss. We've kind of had our days with Northwestern. We've been in some close games over there in the past and end up coming out on the good end of the stick. So this was one of those ones we didn't. And yeah, couldn't remember the last time we went into overtime or double overtime. I think South Dakota State may have been triple overtime. I'm not sure, but I do remember we won over there, and that was a big win for us. So, yeah. But we got to get going this week. We got Lamar, got our last game at home. Got senior day, 3 o'clock, which is a little different, but it's going to be cold, so it's probably a little bit better playing the day anyway. So.
Anyone have any questions about Northwestern?
I do. I'm just curious. Against the big receiver, inside the 10, was there any discussion or schematically could you have gone to a double team on this guy?
Well, if you double team a wide out, then you have one guy less on other receivers or the run game. So you don't know if they're going to throw the ball or not. So there's some instances where we did double him. Actually, on one of the touchdown runs from about the 20 yards out, we was actually doubling him into the boundary, and we were one less guy short in the box, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. So, of course, we didn't know what they were going to do on the 2-point conversion. You got to think that they're going to throw the ball, but you don't know that because they can check their check offense. So, we had our biggest corner on them. Of course, Kobe Richardson didn't play in the game. He got a broken wrist, so our tallest corner wasn't available. So Darian Dunn was our next guy, and I thought he had great coverage for most of the night, but they let the guy get a little bit physical. He actually pushed Darian down on the 2-point conversion, and there was a no call. So kind of is what it is. It was kind of like playing Wilt Chamberlain, underneath post. That's what it felt like. So, they're a good offense, and we knew it going in. And they were very, very strong in the second half of all their games. If you went back and charted them, that especially in the fourth quarter, there was a team that never quit, and they would come back, and they showed the same type of resilience. But our kids played tough. I really like the effort of our kids. It wasn't perfect, but I thought our kids played well enough to win the game. But we did some things bad enough to lose the game as well. So it was just a hard-fought game.
I'm just curious in those situations, because you said you were going to speak your mind, if you will, to the referees about the push-off. And clearly, on replays, he did have a tendency to push off.
Yeah, well, I told him before the game.
Yeah, I mean, did they listen? How effective was that?
No, they didn't listen. If you watch the game, they didn't call one. Yeah. So, no, they didn't listen. Every year they come in and they talk about pass interference. The head of the officials, Mr. Byron Boston, and every year they talk about that offensive pass interference is the least called, and they're probably 65 to 70% wrong every year when they go back and evaluate the film, but yet nothing ever changes. So before the game, I told them that their number one was the guy that pushed off. Whether you got your back to him or you're fronting him eye to eye, he's going to push off. I said, he's going to push off 5 to 6 times. I said, if y'all call it 2, it'll be good. So they kind of laughed. They said, we'll watch for it. I said, we had number 1 last year, Ken Shelby. Kind of got the word out around the league that he would push off. Every game, y'all would call one on him. Well, this guy hadn't been called very many times. So I did everything I needed to do to set the seed, but it didn't work. They didn't call any, so.
Do you think reputation plays into that because he came from LSU?
I mean, I would think the officials wouldn't care where a guy comes from. I mean, you'd think a referee would go out there and call the game what he's experienced to do. No matter where a football player, or who's playing the game, or what color their skin is, or what color their jersey is, you call the game the way it is. And if a guy pushes off when the ball's in the air, he should be called, no matter if he's in a dark colored jersey or a light colored jersey, no matter if he's offense or defense. It's supposed to be the most fair situation there is. when you're playing in a football game, those guys are there to manage the game. And when they let one side do and don't let the other side do, I mean, it is what it is. But and we had our chances to win the game. That's not why we lost the game. But the guy, talking facts, the guy pushed off on us, you know. Not every time, but for 2 times he did. Once in the end zone on a touchdown, and 2-point conversion was very, very clear because our guy was pushed down to the ground. But
about the defense and the double team, are you kind of in a situation where if you do double team the outside and they see it, they're going to change the play?
They'll change the play. Actually, in Cornet Word, we did that. We doubled, and they checked to a run, and they scored on us, you know. So if you do that, they've got something. It becomes one-on-one matchups, you know, and especially with the quarterback that's throwing the ball, a quarterback that also can run draw plays, they can run. I mean, you say, yeah, it's easy. Won't you double him? Well, they got other wide receivers too, you know, that catch the ball. So now everybody's single. They was getting a bunch of trip sets and was running a lot of pick route combinations to the trip. So it's easier said than done. If I knew they was going to throw the ball to him, if I knew that for sure, they wasn't going to run the ball. They was definitely throwing to him. I'd have put 2 guys over there, but they still would have probably checked and went somewhere else. So I mean, it becomes one-on-one, and you got to make a play.
Is that because of all the run pass options now? Is it just basically a count?
It's a
and
count.
A quarterback sits there and goes, I got this many guys in the box, like I'm going to run. I got this many guys I'm going to throw.
That's right, and then he'll look to the sideline. If he's not sure, then they'll give him the call where they want, according to what they see. So we've got defenses where we check defenses, of course, as well. But, you know, you just got to, it becomes one-on-one. A guy got to make a play sometime, or you got to get at least help from the referee when they do push you off. So you can't defend a big wide receiver like that and not, you know, get calls when the guy does push you off. So.
All right, let's look at Lamar. Probably the hottest team in the league right now, 5 straight wins, and really started taking off when they made that quarterback change at dual threat guy. And I think they said they're going to play both of them tomorrow or Saturday. Mm-hmm. So just your thoughts on
They're both good. I mean, they're both dual threat. They both can run. They both can throw. You know, the starter kind of went down against Sam. You saw him in the end zone on film. So I don't know how much of an injury he had, but he came back and played in this past game. So they're playing 2 quarterbacks. They've run the ball very well, both of them. One of them's more like a tailback. The other one's a little bit probably more like a wideout running the football. So it's number 7 and 8. Sometimes they're both in there, and they run some plays with both of them in there that they can both run the option with. So they're doing a good job offensively. It's a lot of option concepts. They're just doing it out of the gun, and they'll motion a wide receiver in the backfield to become the pitch man. So we feel like we got a really good scheme against it, and we'll see. We'll try to take the run away and make them one-dimensional to throw the football. I mean, that's what we try to do each and every week. So this week will be a lot bigger task stopping the run, though. It's kind of like when we played Southeastern last year. They was running a lot of that triple option stuff out of the gun. So very similar to that, but they do have some spread plays. You know, they run regular type plays as well. So you know, we got to be able to do some things when they motion a guy into the backfield and get into option defense. So that's going to be the biggest task this week, is when they have 3 guys in the backfield with the quarterback with the motions. So it's going to be tough, but I think we got a good game plan. I really do.
Burris and BJ both out.
Yeah, you know, Javon got knocked out on opening kickoff, our starting free safety. So we didn't have him the whole game. So Gabe had to play. Foster coming back from a pulled hamstring. And then BJ goes down at the end. It's nothing he needs surgery on, but I think he needs time. You know, it's a knee injury. Didn't tear anything, so.
So he's out.
I would think he's out. I mean, kid's got a future. I think if he goes out there, he can hurt himself a little bit worse. You know, so we'll see. But those 2 are very doubtful. Austin Nelson was back last week. Didn't play him much this week. He'll play a lot more. Parker's still out, and then we have more defensive linemen out.
Coach, with regards to Lamar, what, if anything, have you seen on film that's changed from their start of the season till this winning streak?
They're doing the same thing. They're just doing it better, you know. And I think they're playing well on defense right now. They're stopping the run, but their offense controls the ball. You know, they've got a lot of big runs of running that triple option stuff. So they're just doing a good job. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Their kids are playing harder. You see the transfers they added on defense. So a lot better football team. The whole league, you know, all the ones that were at the bottom last year have all gotten transfers that came in there. And so The league has gotten better because of it. There's a lot more parity. You know, you look at the conference right now, there's a lot of people really close in the conference. So last year, of course, it was top heavy and bottom heavy. We had, you know, 2 10-1 teams. We were 9-2. Nichols was 8-3, and everybody else was. The 2 teams were around 500, and everybody else was really down. Now everybody's around 500 or a little bit above, and only a couple teams at the top. I mean, I think you got 2 3-loss teams, maybe.
Yeah.
And then 2 in conference, of course. So nobody's undefeated in conference. So it's been a league that's been beating each other up. It's about matchups a lot of times. So very competitive league this year. Very competitive.
Does that help your league in a way? Because last year the perception was you didn't get in because the bottom was so soft.
Yeah.
Now could you get in because the bottom is tougher?
I don't know. You know, last year you would think that you've got 2 teams that are 10-1, a 9-2, and 8-3. That, I mean, that's good seasons, you know. And this year you've got, you know, 2 teams with 3 losses, and one's only, you know, going to be 1 game short, and everybody else is either 6-4 or around 500. And it is tougher, but I mean, I don't know if teams should get in just because the whole league was around 500. To me, you take the top 4 last year. I mean, to me, that's kind of crazy. But I don't want to discount myself or anybody else for not getting the playoffs. I'm not saying that, but you go to the playoffs when you got a good team and a good record, you know. Now, there's a lot more parity in the conference this year. I agree, but I don't know if that should make more people get in because there's no ones that are, you know, we're not bottom heavy this year, I guess is what I'm saying.
Are you still selling to the team that you got a chance?
No. We're going to try and win on Saturday for the seniors and try and send them out on top. I'm not putting any stock in anybody that's going to vote on whether we're in or not. You got to take care of yourself, and we wasn't able to do that, so you can't count on anybody else.
You beat Lamar. Would you make a case for this team at 7-4?
I mean, 9-2 didn't make the case. I don't know how 7-4 would.
Different years.
That's not my job. That's not my job to make a case. If they put us in, then we'll go. I mean, that's for our administration and the people on the board to, you know, to do that. And whether, you know, Mr. Barnett's going to do an article or whatever's done, I don't handle that. We just try and win games, you know. And if we win Saturday and we're a bubble team and they put us in, I'll be very, very appreciative and thankful and all that. But if we don't, I understand. I mean, because last year we were 9-2 and we didn't get in. So I'm not putting a lot of stock in it, I guess is what I'm saying. I know around the country there's a lot of teams that are going to possibly be 7-4, you know. But I don't know. We just got to try and win Saturday. That's the most important thing. We need to win because it's Seniors Day and we haven't lost at home, and we need to send these seniors out, you know, on a win. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm preaching.
What's the pulse of the team sitting here on a Tuesday after 2 losses like this? I mean, part of your job is obviously to psychologically analyze these guys and make sure they're ready and get them ready. You
know, yesterday, defensively, we went out on the field and started working on a triple option already. So it got their attention off of the game that we just played. Some of the guys came in early and watched the film, and our coaches watched with them. Then we went outside and we started going through the option progression, and the offensive coaches moved on very quickly. You know, they showed them the good things we did, but we had to move on to this week. So you got to have a short-term memory. You know, these kids, and I told one of the booster clubs earlier that, you know, fans and coaches and supporters, we all have another season. You know, we have different years. We can even change teams if we want. But a football player has an expiration date. And these seniors, almost all of them's expiration date is going to be final Saturday. And they'll never play this game again. And you don't go get in a church league. You can't go to the YMCA. You can't go anywhere and play tackle football. This is it. So it's a big transition for a kid to go from playing football from probably was in the 3rd grade all the way through his 5th year of college, and it's not there anymore, you know. So our job as coaches is to help them win their last one. And not very many times you get a chance to do that, you know, when you really think about it. I didn't win my last one. I lost in the playoffs against Troy. Of course, if we don't go to the playoffs, this will be the last one. If they win, they'll end on a good note. Not very many people can end on a good note. We'll still have a winning season, of course. 6 wins right now. We'll be 7-4 with a winning record. Not what we want at the end of the day, but the seniors will remember their last game. You know, and I want them to have a good feeling of how they ended it. So that's kind of what you want as a head coach.
Well, what's the senior class meant to you?
You know, we got different types of guys. We got transfers, guys that came in here. We've got guys that came in here and had to play as true freshmen, but then they got hurt, like Christian Jacobs and Ryan Ross, and ended up getting a red shirt and came back this year and had high expectations. B.J. Blunt, of course, started here, came back from JUCO and played unbelievable, you know. Trey Roberts did a good job on special teams. James came from Arkansas State. He's going to end it the right way as the starter. You know, he had a really good game last week, so a couple of games off from him starting looked like it helped him, and he's ready to be a starter again, and I'm so happy for him. You know, he's in a position that everybody notices when you're not the starter. All the other positions, nobody knows. And nobody knew Darian Dunn hadn't been starting, Kobe Richardson had. I mean, other than, because I don't, you know, but when that quarterback goes in the game, they're looking, okay, well, he's different. Who's the quarterback? You know what I'm saying? It's just all eyes are on that quarterback, and that's a tough deal, you know. So it's not just a team thing; it's also a public thing. But I think James is handling it the right way, and he came back and really had a good game, and he deserves to be the starter at the end of the year because he earned his job back. And so kudos to him, and hopefully he goes out throwing the ball 100 times. You know, he's trying to set a record of the most pass attempts ever in McNeese history. So. We're going to make it fun this week. I think that's what you got to do. You got to make it fun. You got to lighten it up. And I don't want to talk about the playoffs for these guys. They don't need no pressure anymore put on them. It's tough as it is with them losing last week, knowing not going to be the conference champion. I don't want them even thinking about the playoffs. I want them to just try to win their last game. And that's the most important thing. That's more important than a selection of, you know, right now, thinking of, well, who would be in or not. That's, I don't think, talk about them not being in a good way.